Hello everybody and welcome back to Soul Stained Ink. My name is Beth and today I want to talk to you about the Westing game. I was originally going to do a 5 by 5 good things, 5 bad things about the book, but as I completed reading this, I found that I could not find 5 things that I enjoyed about this book. So, yeah, I'm going to do the best I can with that. First of all, let's just start out with talking about it. The cover is gorgeous. This is by Ellen Raskin. It won a Newbery Medal. It was originally published in 1978, and it has approximately 216 pages. This is the Scholastic edition, so it comes with literature circle questions in the back, and it honestly is set up a little oddly. They don't have chapter breaks or anything like that. There are chapters, but instead of our typical setup where the chapter ends, there's a space and then the next page, it just randomly, like the first chapter starts way down here, and then chapter 2, middle of the page. There's not really any honest to goodness break in between, and I found that made me feel like I was forced to continue on at the end of the chapter instead of taking a break and a breather, which made me honestly feel like quitting. And I kind of did. It took me a week to read this book, guys, an entire week. And it's not because of the way it was set up. I mean, that was odd and it felt a little weird, but I could have dealt with that fairly easily. It's set up more like a short story than like a novel. Okay, I can handle that. Um, but the story itself, I was expecting, and this is my fault, but I was expecting from the summary that this would be more like the movie Clue, and it was, but it wasn't. Now, what I mean by that is that in the book, these 16 unlikely people have been brought together and they are at Sam W. Westing's house, his mansion. He has been found dead in his bed after having disappeared, I think 14 years ago or something like that. He is back at his mansion and has been found to be dead. And so his will calls for these 16 people who are currently living in the Sunset Towers apartment complex, which is right in front of his mansion, to be his inheritors. But the only thing is, for you to inherit anything from him, you and whatever partner they partnered you up with have to figure out who murdered Mr. Westing, and it's somebody in the group. So it could be your partner, it could be one of the other 14 players, whatever. And so it's kind of like Clue in the sense that you're trying to figure out who killed Mr. Westing, but the rest of it is not. First of all, they're not just in the mansion. They go back to Sunset Towers, and they get snowed in, and they spend the next like week snowed in together, and everybody's just, things are going awry. There are bombs going off, all sorts of things. And the characters, well, the characters in the movie Clue and the game Clue, they are very um, surface level. They're still deeper than most of the characters in the Westing game. Before I talk about all the things I did not enjoy about this book, I want to very quickly mention a couple of things that I did enjoy about the book. So while I find the characters to be very surface treatments of the people that they are supposed to represent, I really enjoyed some of the representation that is in this novel. For instance, we have a woman who is a cleaning lady who seems to be down on her luck and who has started a soup kitchen and works very hard there. We have an African American judge who spends a lot of time with an inner monologue about how to pay people back because of different things that had happened. Um, we have a seemingly mentally handicapped person, and we see the treatment of him. We have a seemingly alcoholic person, and we see the treatment of him. And we have an actually physically handicapped person who had a wasting disease, and now he is in a wheelchair, and he's very, very smart, but he has a big difficulty in speaking because the muscles have deteriorated and he has seizures and things of that nature. And he's a bird watcher and he knows all of the Latin names, but when he tries to say them, he stresses out. When he stresses, he has seizures. And I enjoyed seeing the way she handled those characters and the way other people interacted with them or spoke about them. I also enjoyed the premise of the game itself. Like I said, I thought it was going to be more like Clue, and I enjoyed the similarities as well as the differences between Clue and the Westing game. Now, that being said, there are a lot of things I did not enjoy about this book. I'm going to gloss over them very, very quickly. I'm going to try not to give you any spoilers, but I'm going to just go ahead and say right here, mild spoilers, because when I get going, there's no telling what I will say. Sadly, I can only imagine that the reason this won a Newbery Medal is because it was published in 1978 and standards were very different back then. However, this being 2016, I did not enjoy it. I felt as though the relationships were handled poorly. The wrap up at the end of the book was interesting for parts of it, but the wrap up for the actual relationships in the book, both with parents, friends, husbands, wives, blah, 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 it seemed very trite, it seemed contrived, and it seemed to go against almost everything we knew about most of the characters. While there were a few characters that I was really pleased to see the way things turned out, I would say 90% of the characters felt as though they deserved so much better than Miss Reskins gave them. While some of them had life turn out fine, in fact, some of them had it turned out amazingly, it still did not feel right to me. And really, for the most part of this book, I felt like I was sledging through quicksand. It was very dense for a book meant for, 8 to 12-year-olds, and just didn't feel as though it was something that would be highly relevant or enjoyable for middle school students or anyone for that matter. The few slightly unique points in this story were far outweighed by the tropes and denseness of a story that could have been written so much better with a different type of style or possibly voice of narrator. I gave this book a 2.75, which rounded up to a 3 stars on Goodreads. I did not particularly enjoy about 3/4 of this book, and I do not recommend it for most people. However, if you enjoy a slow burner mystery type of thing with a couple of weird characters, you might enjoy this book. If you have read it, please let me know down below what you thought. If you have a review on a blog or a vlog or whatever, link it up down below so we can see your thoughts on the matter. Don't forget to do that thing where you give me a big thumbs up if you like the video, you subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye!